Hey guys, welcome back to the Chippernat channel. Today we're going over my top 10 favorite movies ever on the planet, on the face of the earth. This list was so incredibly hard to make. There are lots and lots and lots of good movies out there, but I finally narrowed it down. I finally got to 10. We're gonna talk about them. Also, I brought this. I was gonna put a jellyfish lamp here, but I'm afraid because this thing is not sturdy. And I would shove it to show you, but I don't want to break everything that's on it. So I figured maybe putting something full of water wouldn't be smart, but I didn't realize that till after I bought it. So right now we've got an alien duck. Before we get started, spoiler warning! Lots of spoilers happening for these movies. I'm gonna try not to spoil too much, but if you haven't seen any of these films, I would just highly suggest pausing my video, searching the film on YouTube, renting it for $4, watching the whole thing, and then coming right back to the video. And then as you're watching my video, if there's another movie that you haven't seen, you do that again. You just repeat the process till this video is over. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things. I love comments. I live for comments. I also have a Patreon if you would like to check out the Patreon. Soon I'm gonna have a video going up on there that's me reacting to all of my favorite scenes in these movies, which I'm super excited to film. Top 10 movies, let's go! So movie number 10 is Nope from, of course, the amazing, the wonderful, my favorite director ever, Jordan Peele. Nope is a movie about a horse trainer named OJ and his family, who is plagued by an alien sitting over their little farm and their house. When I originally watched this movie, it was not my favorite Peele movie. I think my favorite has always been Us. But Nope just hits different. It's got this really cool blend of tragic and dark and gory and brutal, but also funny and light and interesting and engaging, and it just plays the field so well. It has these vastly different moments that it oscillates between, and I love horses, so personally, seeing all the horse training aspects come into how they deal with ultimately the alien that shows up in Nope is really, really cool. I love all Jordan Peele movies, and it was so hard for me to pick a favorite, but I think Nope just hits this kind of thriller vibe instead of a horror vibe. Like, you can watch this movie and not get too scared, except for the chip attack scenes. Those are terrifying. But I think this movie is just fucking stellar, incredibly well done. Of course, it's Jordan Peele. I can't say a single negative word about him. My favorite scene from this movie is the high five scene.
No electricity.
Didn't I tell you this motherfucker was gonna come up here with a non-electrical camera? Let's go, boy! Yeah!
Just such a good laugh every time in the midst of all this chaos and craziness that's happening. And I love this movie. Number 9 on my list is Avatar 1. Avatar 2 can fuck all the way off. Avatar 1, so good. And I've said for a long time that it's my favorite movie. So I actually, when making this list, was surprised that it ended up at number 9. Avatar is the story of a paraplegic, I think that's the right word, army veteran who is sent to Pandora in the place of his twin brother who had just been shot. And his twin brother was this scientific researcher who they needed on the team. And he was sent in his place, but no one wants him there. They're like, we don't need you, you army goon. He is slowly roped into basically going behind the backs of the people the native people on Pandora to help the humans access a very important mineral that lives within the main tree in the Na'vis, the native people's homes. I hope that was comprehensive. This movie is so incredible, so long, but so incredible, so gorgeous, amazing plot and character development, amazing set and costume designs. Like, I can't say enough about how much I love this movie. I cried the first time I went to Pandora in Disney World. I think I have pictures. I'll try and find them, and they will be on the screen if they exist. Visiting Pandora was just such a dream. They have these glowing drinks that I was so obsessed with. You guys, I love this film. My favorite scene in this film is probably when Neytiri is teaching Jake and Jake's learning from her. I love the way that this film approaches spirituality within nature. I have always identified nature as like my higher power, my spiritual being. And so I think that part of this movie really, really connects with me. And I love seeing Jake learn about the way that the Na'vi approach nature as their god, their spiritual connection. It's just so cool. Actually, I lied. Oh my god, I lied. My favorite scene from this movie is when Jake is transported into his avatar and gets to run again. As someone who has had 2 surgeries on this ankle, and I sprained this ankle really, really bad last year for like 6 months, I couldn't use it. It is so awful not being able to move or walk or use your legs, and seeing him run just like almost makes me emotional every time. It's just such a good moment, and they really capture the joy and the exhilaration of being able to move and use your body when you haven't for so long. Number 8 on our list is Lord of the Rings 3: Return of the King. Lord of the Rings 3 follows our cast of characters as they come to the end of their journey, as they get closer to destroying the one ring that rules them all and ending Sauron's evil reign over the realm. This movie, obviously all of these movies are incredible. I love every single one. This movie just brings it all to a head and a conclusion in a very gorgeous way. I especially love in this movie Aragorn taking up his throne and becoming the king, Return of the King. I love everything about Sam and Frodo's friendship in this movie. It's really, you can see it withstanding the test of time. I would marry Sam in a heartbeat. I love that man. If Sean wants to hit me up. But this movie is so worth the 4.5 hours you're gonna spend on the extended version, the true version. My favorite scene is probably when Frodo is collapsing on the mountain, just out of exhaustion, and Sam says, "I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you." It carries Frodo up the mountain, and I can't. I love these movies. This third movie is my favorite just because of everything that happens with Aragorn. Just makes it so, so good. Number 7, Pirates of the Caribbean, my guys. I love this film. I love this film. It seems like such a goofy film to be on a top 10 list, but it is so good. Pirates of the Caribbean follows one Keira Knightley, who, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but Keira Knightley is being forced into this arranged marriage that she does not want, and Will Turner is in love with her, and Jack Sparrow needs his ship back. And those are the threads that we have coming together to form this film. I love everything about all the characters. By the end of the movie, you feel like you're friends with these people. Especially, they did Jack Sparrow so well. I love the little bit of flavor that he gives to everything that's going on. It would be such a boring movie without him. Like, his role is not, he's balanced with the other characters. He's not the main character, but he just adds this fun and this adventure to it that it would be so monotonous without. This is also the movie that helped me realize that I was bisexual. Happy Pride Month, by the way. I started thinking I was bi because of Keira Knightley, I'll be honest. Keira Knightley and Shigo. But I was watching this movie and I was just like, oh my god, Keira Knightley, I see you. And then I was like, okay, I'm lesbian and I don't want anything to do with men. But then I would watch this movie and I would see Jack and Will and I would be like, I think I'm bi. I cannot choose. So I credit this movie with that realization of mine. My favorite part of this movie is definitely the sword fight between Will and Jack, but I also really love the line that's like,
"You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of. But you have heard of me."
Just so many good little moments and one-liners in this movie. Number 6, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. This movie is incredible. Shortly after watching it for the first time, like within the 4 days after watching it, I showed it to 2 more people. So I watched it 3 times in like 3 or 4 days. It's just that good. It plays with storytelling in such a fun way that you like would not expect from a movie, and it starts out as one thing, it turns out to be another thing. You're like, what is going on? At some point, Chris Evans shows up, which is just so good. And my favorite part has to be the vegan fight, because it's just so out there, and I love when he gets his vegan powers revoked. It's so hilarious, and it's such a good nod to all the vegans out there. Especially the supremacist vegans who are like, oh yeah, being vegan is gonna make you superhuman. It's just so funny.
Actually, muchacho, I poured the soy in this cup, but I thought real hard about pouring it in that cup. You know, in my mind's eye or whatever.
This movie is so much funnier than it deserves to be. And gay character, Scott's roommate is gay, and it is Pride Month. So legally, I think you're required to watch this movie. Movie number 5 is Megamind. I cannot have a bad time watching this movie. I was telling my brother about movie number 1 on this list and how I think movie number 1 on this list is objectively without any flaws. I watched movie number 1 on this list and I'm like, I cannot find a single thing wrong with it. And he was like, what about Megamind? Can you find anything wrong with that? And I was like, no, like I literally can't. Megamind is the story of a little blue, not a little, he's got a massive fucking head actually. And Megamind is the story of a blue alien dude who is sent to Earth from his planet at the same time as someone named Metro Man. And they have this rivalry going on for years and years and years until one day Megamind's plan accidentally works and he accidentally kills Metro Man. And then he has to figure out what to do without opposition as a villain. This movie is perfect for people of all ages. I loved it as a kid. I love it now. It's so funny. It's got such a good little theme and message to it. It's got such good heartfelt characters. Everyone's motivations make sense. Everything that's happening in the story matters to everyone involved. It's just so good. If you haven't seen Megamind, please, I am literally begging you right now to please go watch this movie. My favorite moment in this movie is when Megamind is trying to shoot someone with his superhero serum that he made. And he accidentally shoots Hal. Hal just has absolutely no business being there. I'm sorry, I'm gonna compose myself. It just is so funny to me. The way that Hal just kind of fucking shows up and it just sets up the rest of the movie so beautifully. So this movie is absolutely incredible. Please go watch this movie. Next, number 4 on our list is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie is so incredibly good for so many reasons. The first one being that the message resonates with so many people. Basically, we're following Puss, who has died 8 times and is on his last life. And the movie opens with his 8th death, which is so interesting. And we're like, what? Like, is he okay? What's happening? And I think it opens with his 8th death. Please correct me if I'm wrong. It might just open with a close call. But it just throws you into it immediately. And then all of a sudden, Puss is searching for the last wish, which will allow him to, I think his goal is to live forever. And if that is not just such a human motivation that can resonate with anyone watching it, I don't know what is. And also everyone else in the world seemingly wants the last wish. I watched this movie for the first time with a very close family member of mine who has a terminal illness, and oh my god, it is so emotional in just all of the best ways. The way that it approaches that very deep and very dark and scary concept of death is just so good. And I also love, it does something interesting that I haven't seen done in any other movie quite the same way, which is there is a certain plot device that also is a character development device, and it's a brilliant way to show and not tell in a story, which is the map. The map for how to get to the last wish changes based on who's holding it. And so we get to see the different fears and experiences and thoughts and feelings of these characters and even memories of these characters in such an organic way. It doesn't feel forced. It's not like it's supposed to be in there. The map has it there. And it's so incredible the way that they work the map into the story and the things that we learn about the characters because of the map. And might I say that this movie completely revitalized Disney's animation landscape and the landscape of animation in all movies and even shows. I think before this came that one movie about other worlds, far out world or something. I'll try and put it on the screen if I can find it. But I think that was the movie that came out right before this movie, and everyone was just getting tired. Like, Disney's animation styles were tired. Everything looked the same. Everything felt the same. And for Puss in Boots to come in with this gorgeous new animation style and just these beautiful, like, almost like arcane, in that it feels like a painting. It feels like we're watching a living painting, and I think it just really pumped some new energy into animation, and I think that was really, really necessary and needed. I think it did so many amazing things for the film industry as a whole. This movie deserves every bit of praise it could ever get. I think my favorite scene from this movie is, oh my god, it's so hard to choose. Of course there's Perrito helping Puss through his little panic attack moment, and that is adorable, but I also love when Puss is talking to his last 8 lives and he's standing in front of all of these versions of himself and realizing what living longer really means and what it means to have the time that we have. And I think that moment is just so cool. So I highly, highly, highly recommend watching that movie. Number 3 on our list is Arrival. Arrival is so sick. And I didn't realize that I loved it so much until I started talking about it the other day, and I could not stop ranting and raving, and I was like, oh, maybe this should be above Puss in Boots on the list because I'm just obsessed. Arrival is the story of a linguistic scientist who is called to the scene when aliens arrive to help humans learn how to communicate with the aliens. That's the general plot, but it's not about aliens. It's not an alien movie. It's about our main character. It's about Amy Adams, okay? It is so incredibly well done, and everything about our main 2 characters, Amy Adams' character and Jeremy Renner's character, just flows together so seamlessly. They have so much chemistry in this movie, and there's this kind of dark overtone of sadness the entire time because we're watching these memories and it's clear that Amy Adams' character has lost something. And throughout the movie, we come to find out that these flashbacks are actually flashes forward. And as she's learning to communicate with the aliens, she's learning to see time as they see it, as this circular, never-ending thing, and not this linear line of things that happen. And so she somehow, through connecting with these aliens, connects to her future, and she's already seeing and experiencing this life with Jeremy Renner's character and the daughter that they have who eventually passes away. And it's just, when that moment, when you learn that all of the flashbacks have been flashes forward and she is actually experiencing the future, that is probably my favorite moment. This movie is incredible, and for some reason I always like to watch it around Halloween. I think it's because I watched it one Halloween on a whim. I was just like, what is on TV? And I was like, oh, Arrival. And then now I just want to watch it every Halloween. It's like a Halloween movie for me. It is not scary. It's so good. And I think it deserves its spot as 3rd place on this list. My second movie wasn't on this list when I made this list a couple days ago, which I think is just bonkersville. And it is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now listen, the first time I saw this movie, I will just say it gets better on the rewatch. The more you watch it, the better it becomes. I watched it a couple days ago and I was like, this is the most cinematic, gorgeous movie I think I have ever seen. The way the story is told, the script writing is insane. Like the juggling. Okay, let me explain what this is about. Everything Everywhere All at Once follows a woman who is running a failing laundromat and is being audited by the IRS when suddenly her husband changes and becomes her husband from another universe and gives her instructions to access a different universe and the multiverse. This movie's also gay, so happy Pride Month, everyone. But what I love about this movie is that it's not gay just to have someone, you know, gay in there. The daughter of the woman who's being audited, her name's Joy, and she's lesbian, and it's such a huge plot point. It's such a big motivator for her because she's living in this pretty conservative Asian family who's ashamed. Her family doesn't like that she's lesbian, and it's something that they try to hide, and her character is so complex and just so wonderfully written. And I think the writers of this film have such a deep understanding, they must, of trauma, and even the way that topics like depression and unaliving, I hate saying that, but those things are approached so gracefully in this film, and it always makes me cry. I'm not gonna cry talking about it. It always makes me cry every time I watch this film, and I tell people, if you want to watch this film with me, it's very, very good. I will be sobbing. Like, it makes me cry uncontrollably, especially the end. It's just, it is so beautiful, and it's short too. It's condensed into these 2 hours, and these 2 hours feel like so much bigger than life, and you leave the movie like, where am I? What am I even doing? Like, what even matters? And it's just so philosophical and deep, but in a cool, fun, action-packed way. And I feel like it's a good watch for anyone because it's got some comedy, it's got some romance, it's got some thriller and some horror, it's got some, philosophy and meaning, and it's just so good. And my favorite part, how do you choose a favorite part of this film? So my favorite part is at the end when everyone teams up to pull Joy out of the bagel. And if any of you are the black sheep of your family or the scapegoat of your family, you will understand how Joy feels the entire time. I mean, the entire time she's this villain that everyone's trying to destroy, and she's just viewed as the epitome of evil, but all she really is suffering. Oh, don't cry. I'm fine. So when everyone switches at the end to trying to save her instead, oh my god, keep it together, Nat. This is embarrassing. Ah! It is just probably the most beautiful moment that I've ever seen on screen. But this movie is full of beautiful little moments like that, and it's so worth every single minute that you're sitting in front of the screen. And finally, number 1 on our list, another movie that I forgot to put on the list originally, and a flawless film that I cannot find a single issue with, as someone who calls herself a critic, is Prey. Oh my god. Listen, Prey has been my favorite movie ever since it came out, I think in 2021. It is flawless. It is gorgeous. It is so cool if you understand the lore of the Predator, which I didn't, but then I listened to the Guilty Pleasures podcast, and I heard Garrick talk about the Predator franchise and everything, and basically, this movie follows a Comanche girl who wants to be a hunter but is being told by everyone that she should just stick to healing because she's good at it and she's a woman. And it follows her going through her coming of age ceremony in which she proves herself as a hunter. At the same time, we are also following the Predator who arrived on her planet and is now going through his coming of age ceremony of proving that he is the greatest predator by conquering each predator that he finds, which is a really cool ladder that we get to see him go up, because at first he skins a snake because the snake attacks a mouse, and then he fights a wolf because the wolf attacks a rabbit or something. We get to see him square off with this giant bear, and that is such a sick moment. I don't know, my love for this movie goes beyond words apparently. I dare you to watch it and find a single moment where you are not invested, intrigued, enjoying it, engaged. It is, first of all, so pretty, and I love the dichotomy between the primitive kind of tools and methods that the Comanche use, because this is like the 1800s or 1700s or maybe even 1600s, I don't know when it is. But then the Predator has this future technology that's just crazy, and that is really cool to see side by side. And then I also love our protagonist because she's someone that you believe in, and too often movies make their protagonists kind of dumb, but there is not a single moment in this movie that you lose faith in our protagonist. She's always the smartest person on the screen, and it's also so crazy good how she's always the prey every time the Predator runs into her until the very end, at which point she has become the Predator and she is the hunter, and she completes her coming of age ceremony. And huge spoiler, I already gave a spoiler warning, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But it's so cool because her brother comes home at the beginning of the movie with a lion's head, and he's got the lion's blood on his face. And she comes home at the end of the movie with the Predator's head, and she's got the bright green on her face, and it is just, I love this movie. My favorite scene from this movie is the classic moment where her brother says,
"If it bleeds, we can kill it."
And it's so fucking sick. So, these have been my top 10 movies. I hope, oh my god! I'm adding another movie! I'm adding another movie. It's Hot Rod. It's Hot Rod. And I don't know where it goes on the list, but I love Hot Rod, okay? Yet another perfect movie. Follows Rod, who is, you know, a stunt guy, a bike stunt man. And he has this rivalry going on with his stepdad until his stepdad gets diagnosed with a heart issue, needs a heart transplant, and Rod's mission becomes to save up money for his stepdad's heart transplant, and it is so good. So you know what? Those are my top 11 movies. I hope that everyone in Hot Rod will forgive me for my sins, because that movie, I don't know how I forgot that movie exists. It's so good and so hilarious. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share. Please comment your favorite movie. Maybe your favorite movie is on this list, or maybe it's something that's completely different from my favorite movie. I would love to hear. Thank y'all for being here and for watching me nerd out about films, and I will see you on the flippity flip.